Namaskar, Jai Hind, and welcome to another special episode of the War Room, the space where we don't just revisit battles, but uncover the timeless lessons hidden within them. As India prepares to commemorate Kargil Vijay Diwas, we remember one of the most defining chapters in our nation's military history. In the summer of 1999, on the icy heights of Kargil, Dras, Batalik, and Mashko, some of the fiercest battles were fought under conditions that most of us can scarcely imagine. At altitudes where even breathing is a challenge, our soldiers climbed near vertical cliffs, often in full view of the enemy, carrying not just their weapons, but the hopes of an entire nation behind them. For every Indian, Kargil is a story of courage. It's a story of sacrifice. It's a story of unwavering patriotism. But if we look a little deeper, Kargil is also one of the greatest case studies in leadership ever witnessed. It teaches us what leaders do when the odds are stacked against them. It shows us how trust is built, how decisions are made under extreme uncertainty, how teams stay united in adversity, and why true leaders are always willing to lead from the front. These are not lessons meant only for soldiers. They are equally relevant to CEOs, entrepreneurs, teachers, administrators, young professionals, and indeed anyone who's called upon to lead people through difficult times. That is precisely why today's conversation is special. This is not a documentary on the Kargil War, neither is it an analysis of military operations. Today, we will decode the leadership principles that emerged from those mountains. Principles that remain just as relevant in boardrooms, classrooms, and homes as they were on the battlefield. And I could not have asked for a better person to join me in this conversation. My guest today is Brigadier Arun Pandey, retired. A distinguished veteran of the Indian Army, an accomplished leader, mentor, and leadership coach. Over the years, he has translated military leadership into practical lessons for organizations, institutions, and young professionals. Together, through our Lead from the Front initiative, we have been working to bring military-grade leadership principles to a much wider audience. Namaskar, dosto. Brigadier Arun Pandey, sir, welcome to the War Room. It's a real privilege to have you with us on this very special Kargil Vijay Diwas episode, sir.
Thank you so very much. And it's a privilege being here on this very important subject and the topic. And I'm sure it's going to be a very enjoyable and informative session. Please.
Absolutely, sir. Sir, before we begin talking about leadership, sir, let me start with a very simple yet profound question. So it's been 27 years since the Kargil War took place. Every year we celebrate the victory, sir, like we did the last Sunday. And rightly so, sir. But when you look back at Kargil, sir, not merely as a military professional, but as a student of leadership, what, according to you, is the single most enduring lesson that India should never forget from the war?
The single most enduring lesson is that never take your adversaries for granted. Geopolitically, militarily, you can be stabbed at any time. You remember in 1999 and prior to that, the relations with the adversaries were going on very well. Right. Our Prime Minister had gone back to the adversary in a bus, and the Lahore Declaration had been signed.
Right.
And while this process was on, about more than 100 incursions were made over this area, which extended from Dras till beyond up till Batalik.
Right.
And it was a major geopolitical and a military surprise and a great lesson for India, which we had, of course, secured a victory for ourselves, but at a price.
Right. So now moving on from there, if you go back in time, sir, 27 years, and you actually analyze the entire war, sir, and all the battles which took place in the war, how different was Kargil from the previous conventional wars that we have had, sir? Would you be able to analyze this and educate the audience?
We'll do it with the perspective of leadership and not entirely a military perspective.
Absolutely.
Because earlier wars had conventional well-trained army of ours, which was commanded by a hierarchy, and the directions for the preparation and the conduct and the execution of the war flowed from the topmost through our strategic appointments down to the tactical level. But in this case, we were firstly taken by surprise. Second was that the geopolitical situation was such that there were certain restrictions over crossing of the line of control, and the military was unprepared initially. And this is evident from the fact that there were units that had just come back from Siachen, and they were pressed into war because the troops were acclimatized. The entire span of the warfare was tactical in nature, because the regaining of our territory had to be done from uh, post to post, from bunker to bunker, and from one peak to the other.
Right.
Thus, we were fighting in a very high altitude area after being surprised by the enemy, and there was a pressure of time as far as concentration of the troops and resources were concerned, and it was a very transparent battle. So it was a test of leadership, not only at the highest level, but also for our tactical leaders, for our company commanders, for our commanding officers, and hence it was a different ball game as far as this battle was concerned.
Absolutely, sir. I think the challenges were unprecedented, sir. If I can add to whatever you just told us, because whatever we had faced earlier was all conventional, sir, and this was a mix of the conventional, and yet it bordered so heavily on the unconventional side, sir. The tactics, the strategy, the use of the special forces, the air force, the artillery, was everything new. I mean, whatever application of these elements was there, sir, it was unprecedented. I think you will agree with me on this, sir. And every challenge demanded a style and a type of leadership before the tactics actually took shapes. Now, moving on from there, sir, when such uncertain conditions exist, as in this case, sir, why do soldiers so willingly follow their leaders into almost certain danger?
Military is different from the conventional uh, organizations, in the sense that it is professionally trained to be together, to fight together in teams, and these teams combine together to make a higher military setup, and so on. But what makes them lead themselves or follow themselves to a certain death is the fact of what we know as the organizational culture. Like every organization, the military has a culture where there is regimentation, there is a history and a legacy behind, where for hundreds of years an organization has proven itself in battle, during peacetime, during calamities, and they have a legacy and a history to be proud of, and everybody having was striven to be a part of that organization is willing to add on to this history and make sure that the Paltan's izzat, the Paltan's name is not tarnished because of their inefficiency or because of their deficiency. So these teams are together during hardships, they are together during good times, during peace tenures, during field tenures. They have a given hierarchy, they have a given role, and each of them competes with each other. During peace and during war, they combine together and achieve a common name, which they know that will be, logged in the history and in the regimental books for times to come.
Absolutely, sir. I think if I can, sir, summarize the entire the answer that you gave us, it boils down to three major words, sir: Naam, Namak, Nishan, sir.
Absolutely.
So, sir. So,
Yes.
and also, sir, what I've been harping on in my other parallel series, Emotional Architects, is that rank inspires compliance, but leadership inspires sacrifice. So it is through the personal the leadership styles also of those young leaders who lead those men into battle, sir, into almost, sir, certain deaths. And at that point of time, I think your Naam, Namak, and Nishan are the foremost in your mind, sir, coupled with the trust that you have, amongst the your comrades which are going ahead with you, facing those bullets, and of course the name of the Paltan and the name of the nation as such, sir. That's wonderfully answered, sir. So we'll take on a question of decision making under uncertainty, under such conditions, sir. So military leaders rarely have perfect information, as we call it in the army, the fog of war, sir. How do they
Yes.
still make effective decisions in such situations of ambiguity?
You see, this problem would be relevant not only to military leaders, but also to leaders in all spheres. Information about a situation, about a project, about any activity will never be 100% because things are always fluid.
Right.
The matrix is always changing, and it is for us to ensure that we piecing these tits and bits of information, sort of digest them and make it into a coherent picture which enables us to take this a decision as to what should be our next step. Now, as far as military is concerned, there are certain criticalities that always have to be taken into consideration. There are timings which have to be adhered to as far as completing a mission is concerned, because based on that particular time, you have the fire support, you have the logistics, you have the additional reserves that are tied up. So the entire synchronization is based on the fact that you go ahead with a plan that has already been considered and approved, unless there is a very, very major factor that is coming in. So, a military leader, with the amount of information that is available to him, has to unfold and unleash his plan, because not doing so would make it untenable for others to pitch in and for the bigger unfolding to roll out. There is ambiguity, of course, but then you have instruments in your disposal. Suppose you want to find out or confirm, then there are patrols that can reconfirm. You have to make use of the other resources like aerial photographs, satellite imagery, and constantly keep building up on the existing information. Certain intelligent guesses are also required, but the fact is that it is always better to execute something with about 70 to 60% of information rather than wait for situation to get perfect and then do it. By what time it would already be a delayed or a victory or an activity which has no more meaning because it is beyond the expiry date. Tipsy.
Absolutely, sir. And I think, sir, every decision that a leader takes in such situations is also backed by the implicit mutual support, trust, and the very, very solid spirit of camaraderie, sir, and of belonging to a unit, an establishment, and the Indian Army and the nation as such, so which pushes all this together.
Yes.
Sir, any bad decision in such consequences in the operations that the military undertakes has very, very, severe consequences, sir. Fatal consequences, I would say that. If I compare the same with a business, a corporate environment, sir, executives also face such situations, but they only face uncertainty. And possibly the ramification of a bad decision would be a little loss in revenue, or a little more loss in revenue, sir. But military leaders simply face higher consequences for whatever decisions they take under such ambiguous circumstances. Sir, all this also takes place because there is a great feeling of putting the team before self in each one of those team members, sir. Whether it is a special forces squad, sir, or a team, or a platoon, or a company, or a battalion. I would limit it at the battalion level, sir. The fighting troops. The spirit of seva parmo dharma and team before self is sarvopari, sir. What creates extraordinary cohesion like this in combat, sir? Please tell us a little bit more about that.
The good units swear by the motto "Follow me."
Right.
And this is the motto of the Rangers. And this spirit is carried out by the best of the special forces, because unless the leader himself is out there to face the flag, the followers will not be motivated to join him, and let alone fight. The second aspect is looking after the men. Again, there is a Marine Corps motto which says that officers eat last.
Right.
So the leader has to ensure that before he picks up his plate, every one of his command or every one who is in his charge is already fed, looked after, has a billet to sleep in, and his basic administrative requirements are met. So unless you prove yourself as a leader that you care for your troops, you care for your men, you care for your team, it is foolish to expect from them something beyond what your authority will extract. Tipsy.
Right, right. And I think, sir, what you said is absolutely right, sir. It is the team spirit and the regimentation, as we call it in the army, sir, which plays the key role in such situations. Regimentation for a larger audience is a feeling of belonging, a feeling of ownership, a feeling of being part of a larger purpose. Which the small, it may be a small unit, it may be a squadron in India, it may be a company in the IMA, it may be a regiment, a battalion in the Indian Armed Forces. When there is unity of purpose, unity of intent, then such a regimentation develops. When they say one for all and all for one, that kind of three musketeers saying which is there, that kind of feeling when it develops in a team, there is no target that the team cannot achieve. And I'm only not alluding to the armed forces or the men in uniform. I'm also alluding to the other side on the civil street, in the corporates, in the business houses, in various startups, schools, government offices, and various organizations that you have. So this is something that every organization, whether in uniform or not, should imbibe to have a very rich regimentation, a feeling of ownership, belongingness, and united purpose, united intent with the larger intent of the entire organization. So next up, we would like to quickly give out some lessons that every civilian or every young professional on the civil street can apply. It'll be a rapid exchange between the two of us, sir. I would give out a lesson first, and I would request you to give out the next one, and so on and so forth. The first one I would like to share, sir, is that discipline wins before motivation arrives. Sir, over to you, sir.
So discipline is doing something consistently without supervision and doing the right things. So there might be times when we are not having the energy or the stimuli to be doing something, but the fact that it has to be done, it will be done, and it will be done well.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts on trust and the importance of trust, Tipsy?
Sir, we were just talking about the ambiguous situation, sir, through which or under which, a young platoon commander, a lieutenant or a captain, is demanded to lead his platoon to victory, and against a well-tested, well-grounded enemy who's dug down and is ready, is prepared to wait and to take you on head-on. In such situations, as we said, sir, when information is little or no information exists, it is the trust between, firstly, between the leader and the led, sir, between the platoon commander and the platoon. The second, the trust that each comrade places in his buddies. I think the audience must be aware that there is a buddy system in the Indian Army, wherein two soldiers are always together. And I would not, belabor this term too much. But then they are the thickest of friends. They know each other. They know each other's weaknesses, strengths, and everything. And they come to each other's aid and rescue whenever such a situation arises. That trust, the trust in the overall aim for which the regiment is, the battalion is fighting, overall aim for which the Indian Army is striving. Like in such a case, we knew that these are, you can say, illegal encroachments by the park regulars or irregulars. That was not the moot point with the soldiers then. It was just that कि उनकी पावन धरती पर दुश्मन के नापाक कदम पहुंच चुके थे और उनका ये धर्म था कि उन्होंने उसको अपनी जमीन से खदेड़ना है. This particular aim being at the central in their minds and central to everything that they did created so much trust between themselves, between the leader and the led. Like, it forced them to victory against all odds in such a thing. So I would rate, sir, trust as the biggest battle winning factor for any army going to war, sir. Sir, I would like to ask you again something in return, sir. So it says leaders must be visible during crisis. Why is that so, sir?
It starts from the earlier battles when hand to hand and horse ridden combat was the norm.
Yes.
And during this time, the soldiers always looked upon the nishan of their army as such, and they under the nishan would be their leader. And if you see your leader, up and kicking and fighting alongside, it imbibes a strength. It imbibes a feeling of confidence and courage, because ultimately if somebody says follow me and he's doing something and exposing himself to the same amount of danger or even more, then it inspires in you the same courage in a geometrically multiplied form.
Absolutely.
Similarly, in case things are going wrong, if you see your superiors there on the ground supervising things, trying to understand the situation, giving directions by being at the center of gravity, then the team and the organization will feel that the management is concerned. Nowadays, the biggest issue amongst the workers and units and corporates is that there is a divide between the workers and the management. It is felt that the management is paid more, they have a easier job, while they are not aware of the situations and the conditions of the workers. And most of the strikes and the discontentment that take place is because of this divide. So in case your leader is seen to be present where the action is, then it will definitely inspire more confidence. It will inspire trust. It will inspire faith, and it will inspire following. Your thoughts on mutual accountability, if I may ask you, Tipsy.
Sir, mutual accountability is very, very important, sir. As we talked about, the ownership, the feeling of ownership, the feeling of belonging, and the regimentation as such, sir. Mutual accountability is your let's say one member's sense of responsibility that he has to deliver something so that the entire team and the other members of the team also prosper. Mutual accountability is the spirit of ownership, sir, the spirit of delivering something for the organization, for the better of the organization. So the entire organization develops together. It is that individual, sir, there's an old story about, I think, Birbal's time and all, when the king had said, Akbar had said that, he dug up a huge little pond. And he said that everyone would come and put in a glass of milk inside that, sir. Sir. So, yes. And because he wanted to, test the character. So Birbal advised him that let's do that. अंधेरे में करेंगे and हर एक बंदा आएगा और अपना घर से एक मटका लेकर आएगा या एक छोटा सा लोटा लेकर आएगा और उसमें दूध डालेगा उसमें. So every one of those 10-15,000 people thought कि यार मेरे एक पानी वाले लोटे से उसे क्या पता चलने वाला सुबह. So when they went to the pond in the morning, sir, it was all full of water only. There was no milk. So that is mutual accountability, sir. Those people did not realize that, for the folly of one, everyone else's character will be blemished. Sir. So like we take it in the army and we try and develop this, sir. In the squadron also, you would have done that in the commando wing. And I think you mentioned that also, that for, let's say, there are 27 odd cadets in one particular term in the squadron. If one creates a mistake, the entire 27 get punished together, sir. Because therein, sir, the mutual accountability, the seeds are sown there. I think I've answered your question, sir. I think it's to your satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much. Yes.
Now we come to the final part of our discussion today, sir. We've had a very fruitful discussion and into a topic on which lots and lots of analysis and books and everything has been written. It's such a topic which has been hyped too much. Our endeavor today, sir, was just to take out leadership lessons from this, so as to you can facilitate a better understanding of the entire operation, the war that was, and
Yes.
how essentially leadership has developed since the olden times to the present times. If I may, give you final takeaways from this entire discussion, sir, there are 5 of them that I've taken out. I would like to list them out now, sir. Number 1 is leadership begins with personal examples, as we said, and especially so in terms of situations like this, wherein the enemy was well entrenched and there was absolute fog of war. There was no information at all. And to lead your men through a hail of bullets with artillery shells falling on you against a treacherous, very steep slope, against depleting oxygen, was only an example of personal example, setting a personal example. Number 2, sir, preparation matters more than talent. As we said earlier, as I asked Brigadier Pandey, how did our troops manage to go through such difficult terrain, difficult circumstances without any information at all? The preparation which they had done in peacetime came to their aid then, because the preparation, it prepares them to deal with such ambiguous and absolutely uncertain conditions. Number 3, sir, trust is earned before crashes. I think we've done this in our lead from the front episode also. Number 4, yes, decisions cannot wait for perfect information. As Brigadier Pandey alluded, that in such situations, 60 to 70% information being available to the leader must press on with a decision, make a plan, which should be very, very simple. It must, take into account the preparations, the battle drills, and all the other preparation and practices which his troops have gone through, and make a simple plan and execute it with grit. And the last one is, sir, that the mission is always bigger than the individual, which the young crop of soldiers and officers have always proven time and time again in each and every battle. Sir, if there is one lesson from Kargil War that every young Indian leader should carry for life, Brigadier Pandey, sir, what would that be in your opinion?
Well, Kargil teaches us that leadership is never about position. It's about responsibility. It is about character when nobody is watching. It is about standing in front when things become difficult. Our soldiers did not wait for perfect conditions. They created victory through courage, preparation, and trust. So, if every young professional learns even one of these qualities, Kargil's legacy will continue to strengthen India.
Excellent, sir. Thank you very much, sir. In the end, sir, I would like to say that Kargil was not won by weapons alone. It was won by leadership, and that is what we harped on today. On this Kargil Vijay Diwas, let us honor not only the heroes who gave their lives, but also the timeless values they lived by. If this conversation inspired you all, share it with someone who believes leadership is all about titles. Because after Kargil, we know leadership begins when comfort ends. Jai Hind, and thank you very much, sir.
Jai Hind, and it's been a wonderful sort of discussion. Look forward to many more such episodes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.